a bit of draw too. Hi, it's Tim Orwood here with another Compass Property Live at 5. Thanks for joining us. Last week we had a great response, so thank you for putting a number 1 in if you're watching live, or a number 2 if you're watching in review. And as promised, we've got a $250 voucher of your choice. Okay, now that's been, we've got all these lucky people. I think it's well over 100 people all in here, and we're going to need to. So I've got a special guest here today, so make sure you stick around. You'll love talking with Ray, and I could have our special guest, but it's always better luck, I think, to have a pretty lady. And there's one here behind the camera, and she's just doing some drum roll. That's right. There's a drum roll, and I've never heard the drum roll before, but Ian, you've excelled. And
winner is?
Winner. Okay. Oh, there we go. Peter and Carol Anderson from Sydney. Well, I shouldn't say the last name. Not allowed to do that. Peter and Carol. Bit of privacy going on there. So those guys have liked and shared. So we thank you for that. That'll be a $250 voucher of your choice. Never heard the drum roll before. Very good. Okay, so today we have a special guest for our Monday Live, and it's none other than the principal of Switch Finance, Mr. Ray Dibb.
Hey Tim, how are you?
Good to have you. Now the thing
Thanks,
is, it's a pleasure for you to come along. I really appreciate that, because it's time, and time is money, and Ray is the principal of Switch Finance, a very, very successful finance specialist, as I like to call him. Ray uses the word finance engineer, and I couldn't agree more, because he really does know what he's talking about. And with finance specialists, as I call them, they work for you, not the banks. They're really interested in making sure it's done right. And you always hear us bang on about, people that might want to use Auntie Betty, who writes one loan every 2 months. Not always the best way to go. And another way you can tell a successful broker is someone who has proper structure within his business. Ray has, I think, 4 loan writers and a number of cast of thousands in the administration. So it's run properly, not just out of the boot of his car. That's what we look for. So Ray is based in Queensland, Switch Finance. And I said to Ray the other day, I said, Ray, what are some of the things that just hit you all the time with people with finance? And we've colluded since then, and we've come up Ray's come up with the 2 big ones. So what's the first one, Ray?
First one I noticed, Tim, was untapped equity.
Mm-hmm.
I come across a lot of people, all walks of life, whether they be investors, multiple property investors, or just homeowners.
Yep.
And I just think it's a little bit of a waste when you've got all this untapped equity when you could be, putting it to good work.
I couldn't agree more, Ray. We run a lot of ads and that, but not on Facebook, and people say, how can you do that? And they just have no idea of what potential they have and what they can do with properly structured equity. And we have a little slide to explain what equity is, because some people might not know what equity is. So,
well, it's a nice big picture. So basic equity is what available value you have to tap into if you wanted to use that and leverage against it to invest. So we've got a picture of a house here with $650,000. They currently have a home loan on it, $250K. So the difference between the value of the property and the current debt is the available equity.
Yep.
Now, don't necessarily say to use all of that, but certainly you can pull some of it out and have yourself market ready, have that money sitting there.
Yeah.
Doesn't cost you anything till you use it.
Yeah.
And that's available money to put a deposit on your next purchase.
I know, Ray, you do a lot with investors, literally thousands of investors over the years. 14 years you've been in business.
Yeah.
And as well as the first home buyers and all, but you're always banging on about being market ready. And that's
very important.
Yeah, very important, yeah.
Yeah.
So it gives you confidence, and when you come from confidence, you can make better decisions,
Absolutely. And it saves a lot of time having that being market ready before you start looking.
100%. So the tip always is to put your equity to work, and instead of going to work every day, working your backside off, and your equity sitting at home in the cupboard doing nothing except making its backside bigger. You know,
Exactly.
you need to put your equity to
It's
work.
a very good analogy. Actually.
It's a great analogy. People
Yeah.
are just too busy working, haven't got time to listen to professionals and what they can do. So that's the big tip I always take out, because with that sort of equity, people can easily do, you know, 1 or 2, even 3 properties. I'm not saying you have to do that, but it's all about structuring, take a little bit of equity out, and this leads in perfectly to the next big thing you find.
The next frustrating thing I find is when people do go directly to the bank, their structure is done in favour of the bank, Tim, and not the customer. And that's where it comes to cross-collateralisation, which is a real tongue twister, or co-securing properties. And that's where the bank secures all your properties together and entwines them to put them in a position of strength.
Sure.
And quite often it's done, as we've discussed, out of laziness, because it's an easier, faster application process for the loan writer. But it's definitely not doing the customer any favours at all.
Well, I'd say it's borderline criminal, really, because what it simply means is that if your investment property gets in trouble because you're in trouble financially, lost your job, whatever it might be, you don't want to lose your investment property and your house.
Correct.
You need to have them separated, so they're not cross-collateralised, so they're separated as a
Absolutely, but there's even more to it than that, Tim. To give you an example, that's an image of co-secured properties, and you'll see there's a red line there. That's like a vein, basically, carrying blood. So that means those properties are secured. You can't do anything with one without the other one being affected. So it might be okay if you've just got one extra property, but Tim, as your customers want to build their portfolio, it becomes very restrictive as each property gets co-secured.
100%. That's right.
And the main thing I've noticed is someone might get an up in valuation on one of their properties. They might want to tap into that equity so they can buy another one, but they have to value all of the other properties in the portfolio so that they can see what the overall equity available is. That can be quite damaging.
Well, you know, the banks, they're all about sort of getting your home loan, getting your boat loan, your credit cards, an investment property, and then just putting the screws on. You won't let you do anything, you know.
And it's
even
very
though you
hard to
can.
move once they've done
Very
that.
hard to move, you know. So,
Yeah.
so buyer beware and look for good finance specialists. There's one right here on the screen now.
Thank you.
And Ray, you've seen that we're going to do a big draw today, and you've come up with a little offer, a great offer.
I have. Same again, draw for you next week, Timmy. A free valuation on your home or on your investment property, and a free appraisal.
Fantastic, Ray. So what you need to do there is share, or like and share this Facebook Live to your friends and colleagues, and put in the comments "done." So just share, write the word "done." We'll put them all out in the box, and the drum roll will be on again, and that's what we'll do next week.
Look forward to it, Tim.
Yeah.
Look forward to it.
So Ray, they're valid points, isn't it? You know, people don't realise the equity they sit on, the potential. You know, you want to get ahead in life. You have to sometimes, you know, if you've got a flat tire or things aren't going as you plan, pull over, have a chat to some professionals, and put things to use in effective ways. And of course, watch the cross-collateralisation, the lazy way, you know, and talk to people who know what they're talking about. I get no money from these guys in finance, not 1 cent. I take from them, but I only refer to them because they know what they're doing. Ray, you're certainly one of those.
Thanks,
So-
Tim. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming along,
Pleasure.
and that's it for another Facebook Live at 5, and we'll see you all again soon. And if you like what we do, share it. If you want to put any comments down or have a chat, be in touch. Take care. Talk soon.
Thank you.